Hello, good evening and welcome to Newsnight. This bulletin is live on Joy 99.7 in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi and over 30 affiliates across the country. Coming up tonight, ahead of showdown meeting of a transport crisis, Private Road Transport Union is distancing itself from calls for the sacking of the Transport Minister despite claims by some members that he's poorly managing the sector.
When you go to MPA, fuel was 17 cities, now 10 cities and 11 cities. Is it not performing well? So what is the transport minister doing at his office? What is he doing?
We have details as transport challenges continue to leave commuters stranded during peak hours.
So roughly spend about 3-4 hours before you get to work every day.
We are waiting for a vehicle, but as at now, there's no vehicle here and we are stranded.
This current situation is really disturbing.
We'll also take you live to the Kwame Nkrumah Circle for the latest. Also tonight, in our feature series, Roads of Peril will take you to Gomoa Nyanyano in the central region where years of neglect have left a key road choked with dust and riddled with potholes, turning daily travel into an exhausting ordeal. In business,
the pounds influenced by the city's sharp appreciation against the dollar.
In sports,
Black Queens head coach Kimlas Brekegreen confident his team would deliver at the WFCON 2026.
Also, National Council for Curriculum Assessment tracks individuals responsible for inserting gay, lesbian and transgender definition in teacher manual for public schools.
They are Ghanaians. So they wrote this definition in the manual?
Exactly so.
I see. So
we spoke to them and then they tried to give reasons why they did that. But we felt that no, the reason wasn't that. Because if
we have details as the agency orders a nationwide audit of all curriculum materials as part of a coordinated effort to prevent recurrence. You can send in your comments via our telephone line 055-1111-997. My name is Pearl Ofori. Stay with us. We'll be back with the details. You're welcome back. Now, in less than 24 hours, the Transport Minister will hold an emergency meeting with commercial transport operators over the transport crisis that has hit some of Ghana's major cities. Ahead of that meeting, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, is distancing itself from calls demanding the removal of the Minister Joseph Bukari Nikbe. He has been accused of poorly managing the transport sector. Now, David Adbuado, formerly of the Concerned Drivers Association, and who now claims to be an executive of the GPRTU, has argued that while there have been improvements in the performance of some other ministers, the Transport Minister has failed to effectively address the challenges confronting the sector. However, speaking on the post on the Joy News channel, the spokesperson for GPRTU, Alhaji Abbas Imoro, said the union has not collectively taken any decision to call for the removal of the minister. Before we speak to Abbas Imoro on this matter, let's listen to David Adbuado, who spoke to my colleague Fatal Bayaga, calling for the removal of the transport minister.
The government has to sit up and analyze the situation and let us all solve it amicably. But if I will say something right now, I will say the Minister of Transport supposed not to be at post again.
Want the minister sacked?
That is what I'm saying.
The transport minister must go.
The transport minister must go. The reason why the transport minister must go is this. He is not performing. He is not performing in his ministry. Why am I saying this? When you go to Gold Board, the CEO over there is performing well. We are all giving them credit. When you go to finance sector, Atuforsen is performing well. When you go to Bank of Ghana, the governor over there is performing well. When you go to MPA, fuel was 17 cities, now 10 cities and 11 cities. Is it not performing well? So what is the transport minister doing at his office? What is he doing? Recently, when there was shortage in November and December, he said he's going to bring STC to come and curb that madness.
But he did.
He did. How many weeks and how many days? Have you seen the STC in town now?
It was meant for just the festive season.
Meant for the festive season. Are the people in Ghana not going under the same stress today? In people in Ghana, are they not going under the same stress today in Ghana?
There was a directive that the buses will be released again.
The buses will be released again. I'm laughing because of the buses will be released again. You see, we shouldn't be artificial problem solvers, but rather we should solve problem once and for all.
Well, he further attributed the transport challenges to a reduction in the number of operational vehicles, explaining that many drivers are unable to afford spare parts despite the relative stability of the city.
Since inception of him being a minister, he didn't even call a meeting of stakeholders to know whether we are facing challenges or not facing challenges. He's saying we are creating artificial shortage. What artificial shortage are we creating? The problem is that about 45 to 50% of the vehicles are in shops because of the high cost of a spare parts. Sprinter bus, you can see, sprinter bus is what we use over here. A back castle of a sprinter bus is now costing, it was 55,000. But as I'm speaking to you, it's 7,500 or 8,000. And you are saying you have reduced spare parts. A steer rack of the same sprinter that I'm talking of, it was 1,800, but now 2,500. And you say you have reduced spare parts. What spare parts have you reduced?
Meanwhile, some commuters in Accra continue to express frustration over the transport challenges. Have a listen to some of them.
Very difficult because coming from Ablekuma, already you don't get a car and you stay in traffic for like 2 hours. And then you get here on a normal day, there's a very long queue here. You stay in a queue for about 30 minutes at least before you get a car and you get to work. So roughly you spend about 3-4 hours before you get to work every day.
It's difficult for me that like the way I'm not getting car earlier to go, it have disturbed me so much because if I went to the hospital, what I'm going to do, it will keep long before I'll come to the house. So it will delay me. So if they can do something about it, praise God.
Oh, I've been here about 30 minutes now. And we are waiting for a vehicle, but as at now, there's no vehicle here and we are stranded.
This current situation is really disturbing. We have to continuously deal with some drivers charging unapproved fares after every short distance, thereby draining our finances every day.
Let's now take you to Kumasi, where commercial drivers say the situation is no different. Passengers, however, say they remain frustrated and are called on government to intervene to ensure smoother transport services.
The Sewa Road network, though a bit on the outskirts of
I don't agree with them. Loading short distances takes time and passengers complain. We don't support what they are doing. The government should direct the police to arrest those doing that so they can stop. We always fight with them. There's traffic in town because the roads are bad. There are cars too that don't park well. We at the station can't bring all our buses because we predict the number of passengers who will come, as long as they all leave before we do.
As a matter of fact, it becomes a way to disturb the flow of work, especially if somebody has to rise up in the morning to get to work at the acceptable time, given the time to report to work. I think that if the person stepped in the morning and the person is actually going to work at 9 o'clock through to 4 o'clock, it tells that, as a matter of fact, the person should rather step in at 4:30 a.m. or 5 o'clock before the person could reach work or could get to work at 9 o'clock. So I think it's very intensive. I think that they should also increase their quota by way of owning a lot of vehicles, so that it may come to a time that few vehicles will not charge higher prices.
Sometimes people are tired to work and some cars can get damaged. So it will be difficult for all drivers to come to town. Maintenance cost is expensive. The government should simply intervene.
Citizens, we are suffering too much in this nation. So they should pity us and have mercy upon us because we are all Ghanaians. If the the government can provide buses for the citizens, I think everything will become normal for us. Yeah.
You hear there's some commuters speaking to us from the Ashanti region. Let's now go on the telephones and speak to Samuel Amwa. He's the Deputy PRO of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. Good evening. Thank you for your time here on Newsnight. Now, first of all, clarify for us, is David Adwado, who is calling for the head of the Transport Minister, a member of your union?
Yes, we in fact, we have this information, and we were a bit disappointed. This is not, a statement that is coming from the leadership of GPRTU. It might be his own personal, idea or his personal view. But, GPRTU don't just, get up and, take decisions, harsh decisions like this, because calling for a removal of the transport minister, has to come with a whole lot of explanation. And in fact, it's rather unfortunate, David came out like this. This evening, the leadership, we connected on phone, and that tomorrow, hopefully, we're having a meeting with the transport minister first thing tomorrow morning. But even before the meeting, we meet and then find a way of, correcting some of these issues that has come out. But in all, we are not in support of, what David, came out with.
So you are by this saying you do not recognize him as a second deputy spokesperson for the GPRTU, just to be clear.
Yeah, okay. So David was a member of the Concerned Drivers Association, and quite recently he joined the GPRTU. David used to be the PRO of the Concerned Drivers Association, and when he joined the GPRTU, because we are all in one direction, that is why it happens that since he's also a member of GPRTU, he has that opportunity to also speak for the union. But this very statement, as I stated earlier, is rather unfortunate that it came out like this.
So do I get the understanding that your side is satisfied with the performance of the transport minister as far as the management of the transport crisis is concerned?
We can't give the minister 100%, or we can't say all that he's doing, we will be happy about all that he's doing. There are areas that he needs to be improved, okay? It's been 1 year since he took office. We've had series of meetings with him. There are areas that sometimes we talk to him, this side, we think if you go this way, I think we, the transporters, think it will help. Quite recently, there is an issue concerning the Okada and all that. We also add our voice to it. So we can't say that not doing well at all, and that the president or the government should, sack him. For that one, we can't say that.
We'll come to the meeting you'll be having with the minister tomorrow, but we are seeing long winding queues at some bus terminals. What's accounting for this, and how do you intend to solve it?
Yes, this long queue at most of the terminals, and even it's something that we used to experience during the peak hours, during the rush hours. But this time around, we have seen some increment. It keeps increasing, and then passengers keep increasing, and we have some shortage of vehicles. Honorable Felix Kwachofusu came out that it looks like we are deliberately decided not to bring out the vehicles to come and pick the passenger. That is not the issue at all. Our search has proved to us that most of the vehicles has remained at the workshops. Today I spoke with a certain transporter who has fleet of cars. He even confessed to me that about 5 vehicles, his 5 buses are parked at the shop now. The engine has broken down, and he has to buy one engine that will cost about 60,000 Ghana cedis. And because of the high cost of spare parts, most of the car owners find it very difficult to fix their cars for the vehicles to come back on road to come and serve the public. And we don't have any support from the government. It's an individuals that we take loans with high interest and buying vehicles, use our own money to service the vehicles for that. So it's not deliberate that we don't want to bring out vehicles, but the shortage is that most of the vehicles are being left in at the workshops, and because of traffic congestions, sometimes some of them do stuck in traffic and all that.
You mentioned that some of the vehicles are the workshop, and there are also reports that some drivers who park on the shoulders of the road are charging passengers exorbitant transport fares. How is your union addressing this issue to bring some relief to passengers?
Yes, we are seriously against this act. Before the Christmas, even not only before the Christmas, ever since we had our reduction in April, we do come out that some drivers that are not belonging to our union, some of them do charge unapproved fares or that, and it keeps increasing. Quite recently, we decided to find out if our members are doing same, and we got most of those drivers don't belong to any of the unions. That what we want to do now is to, involve the police. The meeting we are about to have with the minister to the agenda to do with this. The state or the government should assist us so that the police will also come in, and the municipal assembly task force should also come in, so that those vehicles that don't belong to the union, they have the power to arrest them for us to bring this unapproved charges or that bring them down.
And let's talk briefly about your meeting with the transport minister tomorrow. What are your expectations, briefly?
Yes, our expectations is that, yes, I believe, one, we are going to talk about the reason why we have had shortage of vehicles, and that we want to plead with the government to help us get more vehicles to serve the nation. Then one also has to do with how to bring those vehicles that don't belong to our union and charging on approved fares, how to bring them to order for them to comply with our directives. That is, one of the issues we are going to talk about.
Samuel Amor, he's the Deputy PRO of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. Let's stay with this issue because it is rush hour now in the capital. And I want to take you live to one of the transport hubs in Accra, the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, where my colleague Jema Apia is standing by. Jema, has the situation eased at this bus terminal?
Right, so that's beneath the overhead. And when you get to the circle along the route, you realize that commuters are lined up across these routes, and they are all struggling to get these vehicles to board. But when you come here, because there are a number of them lined up, when the vehicles come in, you realize that they are rushing into the vehicles so that they can get a seat.
Gemma, we can hardly hear you. Can we try this again?
Right, so first, I was saying, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. It's better.
I am careful just beneath the overhead. And when you get to check, you realize that a number of commuters are lined up at the various routes, right? So when the truckers come in, you realize that they are rushing in to get a seat in the trucker, and it doesn't take the trucker more than 5 minutes to get full to hit the road again. Some tell me that they have been here for hours trying to get this structure to move from circle to their destination. They faced that challenge in the morning when they were trying to get to work and other various places.
Okay, Jimmy.
But the situation is the same this evening.
Okay.
And the structures are actually having a field day because they don't take it a lot of time to get to move because there are lots of commuters along these routes.
The situation you say hasn't changed, Jim, and that's my colleague Jema Apia reporting from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. Now they are forced to endure the dust and drive on roads with potholes. That's the reality for drivers and residents of Dawa, Kojoku, Memenda, and other nearby communities in Gomoa Nyanyano in the central region. In our continuing feature series, Roads of Peril, I speak to residents and motorists in these communities on the impact of the deteriorating road network. In Gomoa Nyanyano, dust has become a defining feature of daily life. Drivers move very slowly on the road, carefully steering around deep potholes to avoid damage to their vehicles. The constant wear and tear has made repairs a daily necessity, and many say the cost eats into nearly all of their income, making it difficult to support their families or meet basic needs.
From KEF linked to Millennium Junction.
From Nyanyano KEF to Millennium Junction and from Nyanyano KEF to Gomoa Fete, we have not seen any construction work on these roads. I've been driving since 1987, and this is how I've taken care of my entire family. I'm constantly spending money on spare parts because of the poor road conditions.
But because of the nature of road, move to part one cedar. When you be just one day, it's but no my name. Sa Atmasi. It's your best say. Kakria KD or your match is on share your match. Your best authorities no. Won't you win Bashe Gomoa Nyanyano.
This busy stretch, which connects Kaswa to Nyanyano and other nearby communities like Dawa, Kojoku, and Memenda, is riddled with potholes and eroded patches, forcing vehicles to slow down and drive with extreme caution. The road, according to residents, has deteriorated for more than 4 years. They say the dust seeps into their homes, affecting their health and overall quality of life.
It
has been 8 long years. Our MP, Honorable Desmond, promised to help fix the road. However, after winning the seat, he said that road construction is not his responsibility. We are therefore appealing to the government for support. The dust is unbearable. Traders are suffering.
For traders like Gifty Oye, daily exposure to the dust on the road is taking a serious toll, not just on her health, but also on her earnings. Every day she spends hours carefully cleaning her goods before they can be sold.
Because of the dust is too much. People are often reluctant to buy, and they complain about the dirt on the food. There are days we don't even feel like selling because of the dust. We are appealing to the government to fix this road because business has slowed down.
But the challenges on this road go beyond dusty goods and lost income. Residents say the poor condition of the road has put lives at risk. Pregnant women have reportedly gone into labor while trying to reach the hospital. And drivers dodging potholes have caused several accidents in recent months. For Joy News, I am Pearl Ofori. Let's expand the conversation and speak to the DC for Gomoa East, Margaret Nana Ankum. Good evening, thank you for your time here on Newsnight. First of all, what's your response to the concerns being raised by residents concerning the current state of the roads in Gomoa Nyanyano?
Thank you so much, my dear.
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you so much. Happy New Year to your televiewers viewers and their listeners as well.
Happy New Year to you too.
Concerning the Millennium City Road to Nyanyano Kakaba and the Nyanyano itself, as we are speaking, I've released the drip machine in collaboration with my MP support and the help. We are seriously working as I'm speaking to you for them to do the reshaping for us. But we are also in connection with the highways authorities, so that very soon the place will be tough for us. From Nyanyano to Millennium City, after the reshaping, we will turn our phase 2, that's Nyanyano curve to Kujoko inside. So definitely everything will be sorted out very soon. As I'm speaking to you, Karen, the machines are working seriously at Nyanyano and then Kujoko as well. So very soon everything will be okay.
You're talking about soon. Can you give us timelines?
Oh yeah, since I said soon, definitely it should be done. Because as I'm speaking to you, as I said earlier, we are still in collaboration with the Ghana Highway so that they will come and try the place for us. But with the reshaping, we are doing it now as I'm speaking to you. The machines are there working currently as I'm speaking to you, please.
So if I come to the community tomorrow, I would see the machines working.
Even if you come this evening, definitely you'll find it there, please.
Thank you very much, Margaret Nana Ankum. She's a DCE for Gomoa East. You're listening to News Night here on Joy 99.7. George UFA is here with business. George, what do we have?
Well, I have some good news for you because the economists will always say all other things being equal. From tomorrow, you should expect the oil marketing companies dropping prices of petroleum products by as much as 3% per litre. And it's fueled by the city's appreciation against the dollar. And as well as private sector persons, including economists, business gurus, and persons from the academia, makes up majority of the 12-member economic advisory group set to advise President John Mahama. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, center stands, and Pepsodent, Herbal, and Charcoal. You're welcome back to business on Newsnight. Now, fuel prices are set to be reduced at the pumps by as much as 3% per litre from tomorrow. The projection was contained in the latest report which guides the pricing of oil marketing companies in the country. There is more in this report.
The projected reduction has been influenced by the continued appreciation of the Ghana cedi against the dollar over the past weeks, as well as declining prices of finished petroleum products on the international market. Despite the increase of crude oil prices on the international market due to the recent development in Venezuela, this was not enough to trigger price increases in Ghana, some analysts say. Based on data secured from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, the price of petrol is expected to decline by 2.30%. This could result in a litre of petrol being sold at 11.75 pesos. Diesel is projected to decline by as much as 2.10%, which should see a litre being sold at 12.45 pesos. Liquefied petroleum gas is also expected to drop by up to 5.09%, resulting in a kilogram selling at 12.30 pesos. This is the second time this month that prices of petroleum products are being reduced at the pumps.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, private sector persons, economists, business gurus, and persons from the academia are making up majority of the 12-member Presidential Economic Advisory Group. The team that will be chaired by the President himself, John Mahama. Other members of the team include the Vice President, Jenano Pokuajiman, and respected economist and private sector leader, Mr. Kwame Nkrumah. Industrialist Sir Sam Jonah is also a member. Other members of the group include Ishmael Yamson, the economist, Dr. Kobna Dufo. It also has the former Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Henry Wampa, the private sector leader, Tobia Fede, and also the Ghana Stock Exchange Managing Director, Abdinamwa. Meanwhile, Chief Executive of Delect Finance, Joe Jackson, has described the group as a crack one that should help the president.
This is an A team. This is a team that we are proud providing advisory services to the government. And listen, this group, I don't think anybody can complain about the membership of the group, the skills they bring to the advisory role they have. It's spread and represented across various facets from the private sector, from the academia. This moment, we can't complain about this group. I don't think that they are going to be limited to one aspect of economic policy. I believe that they would span the whole spectrum, right? And it's important to understand that when you look at the document, there was no limitation. They're just to advise on economic policy, and economic policy spans a wide range of things.
And that is the Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson. Now, Finance Lecturer Dr. Benjamin Amwa has described moves to reduce the non-performing loans significantly by the end of this year as laudable and good for businesses. The Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiema has announced that he is working to reduce the percentage of non-performing loans to 10% by December this year. Dr. Amwa notes that this will be good for businesses when it comes to securing fresh loans from the commercial banks.
But the first point to deal with this problem or to achieve this target is for the banks to relook and help create good assets. The banks are the first point of call because the banks that create the loan facility. So if these banks have poor lending functions or poor lending strategies, then the NPLs are most likely to occur. Now the central bank is coming in to lead the charge, as we heard from the governor. This will mean that the central bank will provide some support to help the banks deal with the non-performing loans that is confronting the industry. How would that be done? First, the central bank will have to, in addition to some of the strategies that they are currently deploying, will have to create what we call or permit the establishment of asset management companies.
And that is Finance Lecturer Dr. Benjamin Amwa. The International Monetary Fund is warning that the recent tax cuts and abolition of some VAT levies may result in more revenue loss than earlier estimated. This was captured in a recent report by the fund. There is more in this report.
Government in the 2026 budget projected that the country could be losing about 3 billion Ghana cedis as a result of some taxes being abolished, as well as reviewing some rates. It had projected that these are monies that it should have been collecting, especially when it comes to the COVID-19 levy. But based on this development, it will rather be giving it back to individuals and businesses. But the IMF in its staff report on Ghana is projecting that the expected revenue loss could be much more than earlier estimated. Based on the IMF numbers, it could be losing more than 6 billion Ghana cedis in a fiscal year as a result of this move by government. The IMF is therefore warning that government may have to press hard on these proposed reforms to make up for these losses, especially when it comes to the area of compliance and administrative reforms. The Finance Minister, Dr. Atuforsen, on the other hand, has argued that he's determined to push ahead with these reforms to help close the expected gap that has been created. Government believes that these reforms will help stimulate growth and development that could go a long way in improving tax collections.
And that is a Business Desk report. And that's all for business.
Okay, George.
On News Night.
But you're hosting someone tonight.
Well, the person who is coming to dinner tonight on PM Express is Dr. Adrian Alta. He's the country representative for the International Monetary Fund as we talk about Ghana's program with the fund, the economy. What is the fund saying about the situation on the Ghana, that is the gold board? Do they still stand by their projection that Bank of Ghana is expected to make more than $200 million loss in the operations? The issues about the taxes, the issues about the economy. When is Ghana's program actually going to end next year? All these details on PM Express Business Edition at 9 p.m. tonight on all our social media platforms. Make a date for all these interesting stuff, Pearl.
And I bet you wouldn't want to miss that conversation with George.
Thank you.
It's time for sport, and Benaya Dafiameto is here. You have some news for us on the WFCON draw.
You're mentioning the name with vim. So the WFCON draw was held today, and Black Queen's head coach Kim Lasberger-Green, he's been speaking now. He says he wants his team to improve their performances that they had at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations last year. Now, Ghana will return to Morocco for the 2026 tournament, which begins in March after winning bronze at the previous edition. Now, the draw for the tournament was held earlier today, and Ghana have been placed in Group D with Cameroon, Mali, and Cape Verde. Let's hear from the head coach himself.
In short term is all about to try to win
the WFCON, but maybe in long term is maybe even more important to make the top 4 and to qualify for the World Cup. I mean, with the fullest respect for WFCON, that is an amazing tournament that we love so much, but a World Cup is a World Cup, and it's also going to be a huge thing, especially when it comes back to Brazil. So I really hope that we can make the top 4.
All right. Wishing the girls all the best later this year. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Benaya. I say that again. Well, for over a year, residents of Bachona East along the Spintex Road in Accra have lived without reliable water supply. The prolonged shortage, they say, is disrupting daily life and stretching household budgets as families scramble for water. There is more in this report.
Life in Bachona East has become a daily search for water. With regular supply disrupted, residents now depend on water tankers to meet basic household needs. Peter drives a water tanker in the area. He says the ongoing shortage has pushed up the cost of a 6,000-litre tanker, even as access to water remains uncertain.
This one, I'm charging 900 Ghana cedis.
Before the water shortage situation, how much were you charging for this?
Before the water is around, this one you are charging 700.
700 cedis, and now it's 900 cedis.
No water. Before we get water, it's not easy.
For residents, the situation has been frustrating and exhausting. Doris, who has lived in Bachona East for several years, says the back and forth between residents and authorities has yielded no result.
We waited for so many months. The water comes sometimes in the night, and you have to come and sit in the mosquitoes in the night, hoping that you get water. You don't get water. The water is still not flowing. Then they tell you, oh, go to Tema. Go and see the engineer there. Why should I go and see engineer over there? More than a year and a half. And we still don't have water. And when you call the tankers to bring water, they tell you, they say we shouldn't supply water. Who says you shouldn't supply? Ghana Water says we shouldn't supply water. So if you don't supply water and you are not opening my tap, it's like what you
The president of the Bachona East Residents Association is particularly worried about children, the elderly, and persons living with disabilities, and is calling for urgent intervention to resolve the crisis.
Nothing has come, and we still have to contend with all these problems. We have children coming over with skin rashes and all that. People keep coming to me. They are disadvantaged people, they are poor people who are in the area. They cannot afford the water. You know, you've seen the rates. Yeah. So it is really a big issue for us, and we have to find every other means to be able to have it resolved.
Nothing, the same is the same. Water has not run through our pipes to our tanks here. It's just the same old story. So if they are saying something, then I don't know where that improvement is happening.
Until a lasting solution is provided, families fear the financial strain and health risks linked to the water crisis will only deepen.
Let's get on the phone lines and speak to the communications manager for the Ghana Water Limited, Stanley Marty. Good evening. Thank you for your time here on Newsnight. Now, what's accounting for the prolonged shortage of water in this area, and when should residents expect some relief?
Okay, thank you very much, Pearl. And thanks for the opportunity to speak to my people. Now, Bachona area is also served by the diesel plant, which has been off since October. We will apologize to the people for the inconveniences created, as we keep saying, and we are working seriously to get the plant back into operation. When that is done, the situation will normalize. Now, with the area, you know, I currently, as I'm speaking with you, I'm around the Bachona area now. Okay, so even prior to the shutting down of the plant, there are still some challenges in the area. We have identified them, but now that the plant is down, it's a bit difficult to do any work around that area. So let's all be hopeful, because now, like I said the last time, government has gotten involved. Government is ensuring that everything is solved so that at least the plant can come back into operation. Then we can fully work on their situation and get them regular flow of water. So,
Stanley Marty, Communications Manager for the Ghana Water Limited, thank you so much for your time. In other news, the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, NACCA, has tonight tracked down individuals responsible for inserting gay, lesbian and transgender definition in teacher manuals for public schools. NACCA confirms to Joy News that the insertion had nothing to do with foreign influence, clarifying that a group of Ghanaian consultants were solely responsible. Now, speaking to Evans Mensah on PM Express yesterday, NACCA's Director General, Professor Samuel Ofori Obuobisa Bekoy, said the agency has engaged the authors who were involved in writing the national curriculum. Now, he added that while the authors offered explanations for including the definition, NACCA found them insufficient.
Yes, we have spoken with some of them, those who wrote the manual.
Who are they?
I think in my explanation,
who are they?
And then,
when you say they, who are
I
they?
don't want to mention names here. We spoke with some of them, and they were also involved in the writing of the curriculum. It's not like those who wrote the manuals are different from those who wrote the curriculum.
Okay, so are they Ghanaians?
They are Ghanaians.
So they wrote this definition in the manual?
Exactly so.
I see. So
we spoke to them, and then they tried to give reasons why they did that. But we felt that no, the reason wasn't that, because if the reason they were indicating was so, then they should have provided more than one definition.
So there was no foreign influence at all in the...
No. Well, I don't know whether those people were influenced, but it's not a foreign person that put that in there. It was Ghanaians. Those who wrote it were Ghanaians.
Professor Obuobisa also apologized for the mishap and said that an audit has been launched to review all manuals and curriculum issued in 2024.
Well, we are reviewing our verification and validation process to ensure that this doesn't occur again. We are also even thinking about what we are going to do a review KD to PSET, how we even do the empaneling of the writing or the review team. We are reviewing that. I've also just this afternoon directed that even all the other materials were developed for the SHS, including the curriculum and the learner materials, should be comprehensively reviewed. Fortunately, they are in digital format, so doing that review is going to be easy. And the review has started to ensure that any such language that are identified are immediately addressed. When you take over a place, you take over the assets and liabilities. On that note, I have no difficulty on behalf of the organization apologizing to the public for whatever transpired. But as I said, we have taken strong measures to ensure that these things do not occur.
Okay. And I need clarity.
Okay.
I need clarity. So those who wrote this, are you or are you not blacklisting them from any NACCA work going forward?
Well, once it's clear that there's a difficulty from that point, going forward, people that we find out that they couldn't deliver as to what we were really envisaging, there's no need going back to them.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of the Ghana Institute for Education Study, IFEST, Dr. Peter Antipati, is calling for improved funding for NACCA. He explains why.
It tells us that there is some sort of inefficiency within that agency. It tells us that there might be resource deprivation issues within the agency. And because of that, they are not able to undertake their mandate as they are supposed to. It also brings to the question, how are they funded and how our curriculum development processes are funded? So that if we know all these questions, then we will know that are there external interests in our curriculum development process, because we know that one of the easiest way to infiltrate a culture is through the education system, and the education system actually sits on the curriculum. So if people are able to infiltrate the education system through the curriculum development, then they are able to touch our society, and that's the gateway. The gatekeepers of this is NACCA, and they should not be under-resourced. They should not be getting funding from sources that are not supposed to get funding from, so that when they develop materials for our kids in the school, there will be materials that reflect the aspirations of the people in the country.
Now let's stay on this issue a while longer, because Education Minister Haruna Idrisu says the government's position on the definition of sex is clear and unambiguous, explaining that it refers solely to biological differences between male and female. Speaking in Tamale, the minister dismissed claims of confusion surrounding the issue, emphasizing that the definition is straightforward and leaves no room for multiple interpretations. Martina Bugri has this report.
The clarification by the Education Minister, Harun Idrisu, comes after controversies surrounding the Physical Education and Health Manual for secondary schools rolled out in 2024-2025. The minister tasked NACCA to address the issue, saying that it is time the definition is clear without ambiguities.
There should be no ambiguity whatsoever regarding the definition of a man as in a man, a woman as in a woman, as in biological sex. And sex means biological sex. Reference to man, woman sex means reference to the biological sex and the sex of the person at birth. Settled. So in every educational literature, in Ghana must reflect it. So there should be no ambiguity whatsoever in the definition of a man, a woman.
And you heard that the Education Minister Harun Idrisu ending that report by my colleague Martina Bugri. And that's how we end Newsnight. Before we go, some of the comments you've shared with us. Musa Abatwa in Asawasi says, sometimes we are our own worst enemies. The economy has remained stable and fuel prices have reduced marginally. Instead of transport operators to reduce fares accordingly, they are shortchanging commuters. This one says, I'm not surprised that this is now being seen in the SHS curriculum at all. When we're not in the same country, while the NPP introduced sexual education into the basic school curriculum, including textbooks under Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh when he was the Minister of Education. And those are some of the comments you've been sending us. My name is Pearl Ofori. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight.